Action.
I was literally just about to start. Right. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Payne Woodshop podcast, where we talk about just about anything relating to building things and such. On today's, episode or series, we're going to be talking a lot about, our goals for this coming year and our goals for our businesses and what we want to achieve, what we want to accomplish, what we want to build, what kind of projects we want to do, all that kind of stuff. So, to start out, Sam, with a pretty new business.
New endeavor, yeah.
What is your plans for this year and what you want to make?
Okay, so obviously I just kind of got here and got moved into the Payne Woodshop. I got my own little space in one corner, which is perfect.
We'll show you later, but we deem that he has ramp to post, which there's some weird features in the shop, but he has about 12 square feet.
Yeah, the important thing is I have the doorway claimed, so
I'm not allowed to go in and
I can get out easily. So obviously I've just started like this week pretty much doing some metalworking. I have a little bench grinder, an anvil, a little forge. That's pretty much it. So I'm working with bare minimum tools. So my first goal is just to get started, get some experience under my belt. Like anything, I just want to dive in head first and try it out a little bit, but I'd obviously like to move up and build some things that I'm proud of and maybe even sell a few items by a few months in. So we'll see how it goes. I'm just getting started. It's an interesting journey.
So tell the people what tell them about the class you took and like how you got into it.
All right, so well, the story of how I got into this, it goes back a ways, but it starts, I was bored at home one day and I decided that I would, use some scrap wood and make something. And so I made a wooden sword for no reason in particular. But in doing so, I did some research on shapes and what they look like, and I wanted to make it somewhat historically accurate just for my own sake. I do nothing with it. It hangs on the wall at home, but I just wanted it to be accurate, so I did that. And in doing so, I found some shows and YouTube channels regarding sword making and kind of got into it and watching that sort of stuff. And then, of course, I found bladesmithing and blacksmithing and how swords are actually forged, both historically and in modern times, and kind of, dove down the rabbit hole of watching Forged in Fire on Netflix and Man at Arms Reforged on YouTube, and decided that I wanted to try it for myself. So for Christmas, I asked my parents for a one night, couple hour class on making a little knife, and I did. I have a little 8-inch knife at home that I handmade myself, and I went in for 4 hours and one-on-one with me and this pretty cool guy, an interesting guy. But a pretty cool guy, and showed me the ropes, and I liked it. It was cool. It was a material that I had never worked with before, doing things that I was familiar with, tools that I was familiar with, but again on a material I wasn't used to, and just a new ground for me. So I took the class and decided I would give it a go myself. So I kind of got a little budget start going, and just gonna see how I do.
Yeah, I have never worked with metal. I've worked for wood for a lot of my life. But when I'm sanding, I often stand sort of across from where Sam is working. And oftentimes when he's forging and just hitting metal on the anvil, he just looks up at me because I'm literally staring at him, because I find it so interesting because I've never done it before. And he's always like asking, like, do you need something? And it's me just watching, because it's just, I don't know, it's super interesting. It's crazy to me. And then sitting over there, but we made that coat rack, which we did a build video on, kind of the combo of us, and that was sort of a fun project. So
that was cool. That's our first meshing of our two skills, and obviously all I had to do was bend some railroad spikes, and we didn't, it wasn't a very detailed project, but it was kind of cool for us to try to collaborate and bring our two
skills.
crafts.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it a skill yet, but
You're
bring
getting
our
there.
two
You're
crafts
getting there.
together and at least see what we can whip up. So, obviously we're coming up with some pretty creative things to do in the future and some more projects that we're going to be able to combine forces on and make some really unique stuff, I think.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've done a lot of stuff recently of just talking about different stuff we can do together. So the biggest challenge will be the pizza challenge, which we haven't fully decided the rules yet, but the basic idea is it's gonna be a full build day video where we're thinking we're gonna start at 7 a.m. with the goal of having pizza by 7 p.m. And so I will be making a pizza peel and some sort of cutting board, serving board, something like that where we can serve off of, eat off
And
of.
the dough, don't forget.
And I have to make the
You
pizza.
have to make the pizzas themselves, right?
Sam, for some reason, got the easy way out.
Right. I only have to make like 2 things, I think.
Yeah, a knife and a pizza cutter, which is actually
But
way
I also
harder.
have to hand forge a pizza cutter, which I don't even know how hard it is because I just have no idea how to do
You've made
it.
two
So we're
knives to
gonna have to figure it out. So that'll be a fun challenge. It's something we've been arguing about a lot, just trying to figure out exactly how
The
we're gonna go
rules.
about it. And
Yeah.
so this
That's
video
gonna
will be on YouTube, this podcast. So let us know in the comments
Yes.
if you want to see a pizza challenge. You're going to anyway, but let us know if you want to.
So we're trying to do podcasts every Wednesday, so this will be uploaded. We're recording on Tuesday. Hopefully it'll be uploaded tomorrow, Wednesday.
It'll be uploaded tomorrow.
Sam's the chief editor,
It'll
so
be uploaded
he
tomorrow.
handles that. But hopefully in the next week or so after that, perhaps we could get that done.
Yeah,
I need to get the joiner fixed, which
we'll pick a weekend day and just
like a Saturday and just go.
we'll go for it without much planning, hopefully, and see what happens. We'll film everything and make a hopefully 1 to 2 part video about
Yeah.
it. So
We'll go live at some point. We can share with the folks.
hopefully we'll get on the social medias and tell everyone what we're doing and get people looking forward to it. So let's bring it back to the wood shop. Obviously, last time we kind of went over your inspiration and where you started from, but let's talk about where you want to go. What are your goals for a wood shop? You didn't start this so that you could every now and then pop in and make a cutting board. So what are the aspirations? What do you want this to get to?
So, like I talked about in the last episode, I started this kind of on accident. Like, there was no intention of like starting it and I want to grow this into the business that I have now. Again, like I said, if you would have told me 6 months ago that this is what it would have turned into, I would have laughed in your face, like would not have believed it. But, the goal is really to grow. And so I listened to a podcast and it said that yearly goals or New Year's aspirations, that kind of stuff, generally like a lot of people don't follow it because it's so abstract. But they said that a good way to set a goal for something, for a business, is to do one word. And so my one word for this year, I haven't told Sam this, my one word for this year is growth. And so that's a very basic thing, but really it comes into just about every aspect of the business. So this YouTube channel was something I've wanted to start for a while now, and really, I don't know, I just love interacting with you guys, and if I can put out content that you guys can follow and do and get more in depth into versus just, an Instagram post with a cutting board, yeah, that looks great, but a lot of people might not have any idea how that's made, and the work that goes into it. So really growing that, and then also growing just the business financially, really, and getting into more different sectors. And so I've been reaching out to a few retail locations here in Baltimore, a few back in my hometown area. And so hopefully we'll have anywhere between 3 and 5 retailers carrying my stuff, which will be really cool, and it'll allow me to do a lot more bulk production of the standard stuff, the cutting boards, the coasters, that kind of stuff. And with that, it'll allow me to spread more into that custom work field. And that's what I really want to get into. And so I've been talking to some realtors, some interior designers, and that kind of stuff, and really trying to get some big projects nailed down, which I'm really, really excited for. And so most of my stuff I've done so far has just been small because I haven't had an order for a big thing yet, because Sam and I have talked about this, but no one knows that I can build big things because I haven't built one yet. And so the goal is hopefully to start investing in myself and investing in the business so that I can create some bigger things. So one thing that is finished, which I finished before we got the shop, it's been sitting in our apartment ever since, is this live piece of Siberian elm that we're gonna turn into, well, it's done, into a kitchen table. We just ordered the legs for it. So that'll be cool. I'll be posting that soon. And then another thing.
And we haven't had a kitchen table since I've moved into the apartment because we're waiting for this piece to get finished.
Yeah, we haven't had a kitchen. We've decided that we've delved into the more casual lifestyle.
We've
adapted
a new routine because of it. And we're better off. We don't even need a kitchen table.
Okay, this is something. Yeah, this is something we've talked about. Is that now that we have a kitchen table, it's probably just going to collect stuff because we're so used to making dinner and then sitting on the couch and watching TV while we eat that like sitting at a table seems just so foreign.
It's just, who does that anymore, right?
I couldn't tell you. But anyway, gotten sidetracked. I'll be posting that for everyone. That item probably won't be for sale because it'll probably get turned into my desk for my apartment, for my bedroom. And eventually the goal is to build either white oak or ash kitchen table. So I haven't fully designed out the sketches yet, but I'll post those once I do. But it's gonna be sort of a mix between like a mid-century design of like just strong pieces, like strong legs, like big chunky pieces, with a little bit of mix of that modern design of being, you know, slim, nice and simple lines and clean. So it's gonna be a pretty simple design, but it's something I'm really looking forward to with, you know, the goal of posting that and having people see, you know, I do larger custom projects. I just haven't gotten into depth of that many yet. But I think that, you know, once I do that, I think I'll be getting hopefully a lot more orders in that world. So really, you know, long things long, I'm trying to grow more into that custom world. And that's more sustainable, I think, long term. And so I think that'll be really good. So in addition to that also is boosting online sales and in-person sales. So anytime you can order directly from me, if anyone asking for supporting, that's the best. You know, all my retail partners, I love working with them, but obviously they do a markup, so I have to sell at wholesale. But anytime you can buy direct from me, that helps me the most. If you can buy from me both online, you know, through DMs, anything like that, or, you know, at any of my in-person pop-up events, that's huge. That's what really helps me. And those days when I go home and just see how much I've sold, you know, it puts a smile on my face for the week. So yeah, the goal is really just growth. It's just really just to expand into different worlds, and I really want to get into that custom world because one of my favorite things is working with someone and them giving me, you know, a few Pinterest photos or a photo of a table that they had when they were young and they want to replicate it or something like that, where it's, you know, they want something custom handmade and I can go through the design process, give them some sketches, all that, and then they put their trust in me to design something beautiful for them. And that's, you know, it's just satisfying because I just delivered 2 pieces the other week, and the customer texted me back, you know, that they loved them and sent me photos, which I ended up posting on my Instagram. And that kind of stuff is just awesome, you know, being able to like hear back that people like your pieces and, you know, enjoy them is what makes it so satisfying to me, because it, you know, it shows that, you know, I'm making these and oftentimes I don't see the end, but when I do get to see the end, it just makes it so much better. Yeah,
for sure. And I want to touch on another aspect of both of those things. One, in the people being able to support you, I think it's also important to say, you know, as much as buying something directly from you is probably the single best way to support everything you're doing here. You know, stuff as simple as popping on your Instagram and 100%. Dropping a like, or, you know, taking 5 minutes out of your day to watch a YouTube video that you've put up. Those type of things are hugely motivating to myself, who's editing most of those videos, and to you who's in them and making the products, because if people want to see it and people are supporting it, then you know it's out there. But I also think that growth into social media and YouTube is very cool for custom projects, because if someone wants a custom piece made, like what we're working on here with this key rack for someone, we can shoot a video and send photos and have it up on YouTube, and they can see their product being handmade 100%. And handcrafted, which I think adds a lot of value, you know. so much of the time we just see the product, but actually seeing the process is kind of neat.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, you know, this key racker, you know, I'll post it once I'm finished. We decided not to do a build video just because it's a really small product.
And
but
it's kind of the last minute.
yeah, it was kind of just something, I literally pulled stuff out of my lumber supply and just chose a piece that looked right and went with it. But it is really cool being able to send customers the step-by-step because they see, you know, it started with a really rough looking piece of wood and it comes out to this, you know, beautiful finished product. It's really awesome. I love sharing that whole process. And what Sam was saying about supporting, there's tons of ways to support without buying. So if you're not in a financial position to support us by buying one of our products, there's 1,001 ways. So subscribing on YouTube is huge, and that's what we're really trying to grow right now, which we're pretty small right now, but we're growing. And then, you know, following me on Instagram, all of that. And the way that analytics work, it might seem like nothing, but if you can like a photo, leave a comment, that's huge. If you can send that post to someone else, that's huge. If you can save that post, which it takes no effort for you, that's huge.
And the same goes for YouTube.
Yeah,
drop in a like, subscribe if you have a YouTube account, and just, even if you can't sit through a full 5 to 7 minute video, you watch the first minute and a half or so, that counts as a view, and that helps
goes into the algorithm.
That video, you know, be seen by more people. So it's, you know, simple things.
Yeah, it's all the algorithm. So like, if I get more likes on a photo, then that photo gets put in front of more people. It's the same thing with a YouTube video. And so the more like easy support you can do is awesome. And two, with that, you know, if you share a post, share a video, something like that, you might have 2 or 3 friends that see that and they're like, oh, I've always wanted a cutting board like that, or I've always wanted one of those charcuterie boards. And then they get in contact with me and maybe one of them ends up buying it.
Definitely.
You know, that's huge. And that didn't take much effort on your part, didn't take any money on your part. And I get to give someone a really nice product, which is satisfying.
Absolutely. I think that's pretty cool. I think that what you said before about kind of having one word, that growth to focus on, is neat to hear about, because it seems like you're trying to apply that, not just, you know, obviously your business itself growing, making more money, becoming more self-sufficient, but also growing in the kind of products you make, what you're able to do, where you sell them from, your social media presence. So that's pretty neat. And I don't have one word for myself, but I'll think about it. It's probably like learn or something, because I really feel like I don't know what I'm doing right. So let's just because we're talking about growth and we're talking about this expansion, let's take a little break. Let's do something fun here, okay? We're gonna do a little game. Peter doesn't know this is coming out, so he's got to think about it on the spot. I've already kind of had some time to think about it. So here's what we're gonna do. I'll give you a couple seconds to come up with something while I give you my pitch. We're gonna come up with something that we want to see each other make.
Okay.
That we've never done.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, for yours, for me, it's gonna be around metalworking. For you, it'll be about woodworking. So
I can get behind that.
I'm gonna give my pitch to you while you kind of think of something and give it to me. So I think I have a couple ideas, but one that I would really like to see, and it kind of goes along with what I'm trying to make, is a display case or a display box. And I don't know if you've done any work with a glass top, but I would love to see like a wooden box that has a glass window on top that I could lay a chef knife into and could be sent out, so that you have, you know, because you don't really put a chef knife into a sheath or anything like that, but have a nice display case for a chef knife where, you know, it has some sort of stand in there and sits in there. And I have seen you do a lot of cutting boards and that kind of stuff, but I haven't seen a lot of boxes and things with moving parts, and I find that kind of stuff cool. So I would love to see you expand into there at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about different boxes. So the biggest one is, I think I got into this in the last video, but after my grandfather's funeral, which is, again, the inspiration for this business, my grandmother actually gifted me his flag from the Marine Corps, which has been a huge honor for me, and I still have that back home. But I want to build a shadow box for that, and so that's something that, you know, once I have a little bit more time, I'm going to get into. But yeah, display cases, display boxes, that kind of stuff would be awesome. Do you have any other ideas? You said you had multiple.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's one of those things where people don't know you can buy stuff until you make it. So I would like to see more stuff. I think that like a bar stool build would be really cool. I think a video on that of a, you know, you see a lot of these bar stools online, and they're either super cheap wood or like the ones we're sitting on now, which are totally fake, just IKEA. You know, they look way nicer than they actually are. I think a really cool, really nice bar stool would be a pretty neat build. I don't know what kind of market there is for that, but I think that would be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
And along those lines, maybe some shop stools besides these ones would
You
be pretty
like
neat.
these.
I like these for this, but you know, I would like a shop stool with maybe some wheels on it that goes up and down.
That sounds.
I think one of those would be cool.
We'll look into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stools is something that I want to do. So I've seen a lot of, they call them 2x4 challenges. And I want to do, I love doing like nice custom builds with all the super nice tools that I have, but I understand that a lot of people don't have access to these tools.
Right.
And you know, I did buy them all myself, but they are still very expensive. So I wanted to do this 2x4 challenge of turning either 1 or 2 2x4s into a stool with
Relatively simple tools.
relatively simple tools. You know, some things will be a little bit more expensive, but there's 1,001 ways to do everything in woodworking.
Right.
So, you know, there's always a line that if you feel unsafe doing something, stop, because there's another way to do it. And so the same goes with, you know, working with different lumber. So that'll be a challenge, hopefully, that will get done at some point soonish.
And along those lines is, of course, the multi-tool challenge, where you have to use all your scrap wood and a single multi-tool that I deem right for the challenge. And then you'll have to build something using just the tools on that single multi-tool, which will be pretty fun for me, because I get to sit behind the camera and watch
me
you
struggle.
Yeah.
So, challenge for Sam, and we've talked about this briefly. Well, there's a few. But these are all products that I want to see, because I want to see him make them so that I can take them and use them.
It's fair.
So the first one, I do a lot of cooking in the kitchen. I do a lot of chopping, that kind of stuff. The chef's knife I normally like to use is a 7-inch chef's knife. Nice rounded belly. And I have used a 9-inch knife, and that was a little too long for me. But the 7-inch is the right size. Now I think I want something a little bit longer. So I want between a 7.5 to 8-inch chef's knife. And the more we watch Forged in Fire, we've talked about this, more I want a Damascus chef's knife. And so this is something that this is something that Sam and I talked about. But for next Christmas, doing a gift exchange between each other of me making him a really nice butcher block table, or butcher block. That was a lot of butcher block. And him making me a Damascus chef's knife that we can exchange. But that's something that I really want to see, and I want to see Damascus because I see it on TV, I see it in YouTube videos, and I still don't understand how it really works and how it all stays together. But that is cool. So what do you think about making a Damascus knife?
I think that sounds way outside my comfort zone, but I'm down, you know. If I'm trying to learn, then that's, I guess, good. So yeah, my knowledge of it is either Forged in Fire or the couple books I've read, and from what I understand,
it's hard.
It's not easy, so you know, I'm down to give it a try, but expect a few failed attempts first, you know.
So then another thing I have, which there's failed attempts and everything. They're not fails, they're growing opportunities. Are we good?
Yeah. All right, welcome back from the break. We just took a moment to figure out what was wrong with my camera.
We still don't really know, but it's recording now. So, okay, back into it. Corporate word. It's a growing opportunity.
Right, growing opportunity. Growth mindset.
Oh, don't get into Leadership Academy.
All right.
Going back. Okay, and then another thing is, like I talked about in the last episode, I like splitting wood, I like axes, I like chainsaws, that kind of stuff. And so I want Sam to make me between like a small hatchet and like a boy's axe. So like sort of like a small to moderate size axe with like a 2-pound, 2.5-pound head. We talked about this briefly, and the agreement was if he was going to make that for me, that I would have to make the handle.
Right.
Because I do wood, he does metal.
Right. I wouldn't touch it. I would just give it to you
and say, here you go.
Axe head, and say, here, make a handle. Yes. And of course, Peter's giving me all these tasks, knowing full well that I don't have a power hammer or hydraulic press, and that I'm going to have to stand there for hours smashing it with my own hammer. Yeah. Which is great. So that's awesome.
The thing I told him from the start was he had to get ambidextrous. So in the beginning he's got to learn with his right hand, but soon after, before he forms really big habits, he's got to switch to using his left hand. So that way it's pretty much equal as a power hammer because you can use both arms.
Right, that's exactly how that works. Yep.
You never get tired.
I don't ever need to buy a power hammer because I have 2 arms. Great.
If only you had a third.
Yeah.
Then you'd be sick. All right, so that's a challenge that I think he can do, and that'll be a cool build video. I think the ones where we work together and we both do our own thing turn out super cool because I don't know, there's not much of like people doing like very two different things, like wood and metal. It's still building, but in all honesty, at least from my perspective, they couldn't get much more different. Like the processes are completely different.
Right, and I think it's cool to see basically one thing get built one way, one thing get built another way, and then at the end it all comes together and you see this really interesting final product that has a lot of uniqueness to it because it's all handmade, every part of it. So it's pretty neat.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
That was a totally unplanned segment, but
definitely.
That's
okay. But it was pretty fun.
Yeah, so goals for this year, we've kind of gotten into them. But the biggest thing is, at least for me, is I love working with people. And the more I can involve people, the more I can help people, that kind of stuff is what I really love. So I just want to be able to, it sounds fake, but I want to be able to grow this to the point where like we can help people learn how to do things and like gain the self-confidence to pick up a tool, pick up a hammer.
And would you want to do that, current situation forgotten about, would you want to do that more in person or more, over the internet? Do you think that's something you can do over a YouTube video, or are you talking about actually having people in and running classes and workshops and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've thought about both, and I'm not sure. This shop, it's a little bit, I don't know, I'm probably not going to be in here. I signed a 6-month lease. I probably won't be in here after that. So I've been hesitant to really do big builds to make this a really nice place. I mean, it's super functional, but the niceness aspect isn't great. But definitely over YouTube, Instagram, that kind of stuff. And maybe writing plans, mechanical engineer, I know how to write plans, that kind of stuff. So doing that would be huge, and hopefully releasing a lot of free plans and free build videos. So that would be awesome. Obviously COVID restricted. I don't think either of us would probably have people in for instruction right now. Right. But that is something I definitely want to get into, is instruction. That's where, really where I got my start. I took a class similar to Sam, I took a class at a wood shop. It was a turning class and we turned some pens, which I just realized I should probably post those. I think that'd be cool for people to see.
I think we should start turning pens, I think.
Okay, we've talked about getting a lathe.
I changed my decision from before. I don't care about the box anymore.
No.
I want to see Peter make a pen.
Okay, I would love to make a pen. However, making a pen requires us buying a lathe, which are rather expensive. So we'll see.
So if you make tools or you're any sort of manufacturer out there and you're looking to sponsor a up-and-coming channel, let us know in the comments below.
Or if you have a lathe that you're trying to get rid of, I'll build you a pen, a bowl, a pepper shaker,
or a bandsaw, or a drill press, or what other tools do we need while we're at it?
Power hammer, hydraulic press.
Yeah, if you have either of those.
Okay, so now we did a lot of free advertising for ourselves. We don't have any sponsors yet.
Yeah, but
Keep
if you're
your eyes
interested,
out. Sponsor us, please. No, but what was I saying? Class. So, okay. I got into it by taking a class on turning pens, which then led to me doing an internship at this woodworking company, which then led me to teaching classes, and that was always the greatest because the look on someone's eyes when they come in just nervous, like obviously nervous safety-wise. We always did a lot of instruction based on safety, and we always had instructors at every tool, showing people, demonstrating all of that, and helping learn this.
And we do a lot of safety here too.
Oh, yeah,
we don't touch a tool unless we know what's going on, and it's always safety gear on and letting each other know what we're doing. So
yeah, that is huge. Like I don't touch Sam's stuff, he doesn't touch mine. If we want to do something with it, we always ask each other if it's okay, and if it's something that is you need a specific technique or it's a tool we haven't used before, we always show each other how to do it. And then we always tell each other when we're turning on loud tools. We always say like loud noises and then put headphones on. Yep. Anyway, but when people would come in like nervous or like unsure on whether or not they could build a cutting board, that was the class I taught the most. And then they could leave the day with a finished cutting board that should last years to come, and they can say, look, I built that. That was just so satisfying to me because, I was 18 years old and people look up to me and like, how are you able to do this? Like, how do you know this? And so that was always awesome and something I always, loved doing because people just got so excited about it. So hopefully I hope to get some of that through like YouTube instruction, but definitely at some point, I don't know when that would be, but bringing people in for private instruction and allowing people to say they want a kitchen table built, but they want to have a hand in it. I could have them in the shop a few times and help them sand or use a router or whatever the case may be.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So I think that's pretty solid. I think growth is definitely our goal for the year, and we'll see where it takes us.
Sam, on the next episode, will have his word for the year.
That's right. I'm going to work on it.
So stay tuned because you're going to hear his word, and it might be better than growth, but it probably won't be. So thank you, everyone. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe. If you're on any other podcast platform, which hopefully will get posted to, got to figure that out. Subscribe, leave a review, all that kind of stuff. Anything you can do that's like a little extra step besides listening or watching really helps us get into that.
Especially now.
Analyze the metrics, yeah. So thanks, guys. Have a great day, and I hope you enjoy this podcast. And let us know if you have any other suggestions for future episodes.
And if you have any questions for us to answer.
We're a tool sponsor.
Yeah, big time on the sponsors.